You could feel the tension through the screen, and if you're a fan of the Philadelphia Eagles, this one hit different. What started as just another tough loss quickly turned into something much bigger: frustration boiling over, emotions spilling out, and a head coach who simply couldn't hold it in anymore. When Nick Sirianni stepped up after the game, nobody expected what came next. But within moments, it was clear this wasn't just about one loss. This was about pressure, expectations, and a locker room searching for answers. Welcome back to the channel, where we break down the biggest NFL moments, the real stories behind the headlines, and everything fans are talking about right now. Today's story is one that has fans divided, analysts debating, and the entire Eagles community asking one big question: what is really going on behind the scenes in Philadelphia? Because after this latest loss, Nick Sirianni didn't just address the media, he reacted. And that reaction is now at the center of a growing controversy. The loss itself wasn't just a routine defeat. It was the kind of game that exposes cracks, missed opportunities, questionable decisions, and moments where execution simply wasn't there. From the opening drive, the Eagles looked slightly off rhythm. Passes that usually connect were just inches off. Defensive coverage broke down at key moments. And perhaps most frustrating of all, the team struggled to maintain consistency when it mattered most. As the game slipped further out of reach, you could see the body language change. Players looked frustrated, sideline energy dropped, and the urgency that usually defines this team started to fade. Fans watching knew something wasn't right, but no one expected the aftermath to become an even bigger story than the game itself. When Nick Sirianni stepped up to speak after the game, the tone was already tense. His answers started measured, but you could hear the frustration underneath. And then came the moment that changed everything. Instead of sticking to the usual coach speak, Sirianni let his emotions take over. He defended his team, but at the same time, he pointed out issues: execution, discipline, and moments where things simply fell apart. What caught everyone's attention wasn't just what he said, but how he said it. His voice, his expressions, his intensity. It was clear this loss had hit a nerve. For some fans, this was refreshing. They saw a coach who cared deeply, who was passionate, who refused to accept mediocrity. But for others, it raised concerns. Was this a leader losing control under pressure? Or was it a necessary wake-up call for a team that needed accountability? And then came the debate that's now dominating headlines. Did Sirianni cross a line? Because while he didn't directly call out individual players in a harsh way, his comments suggested deeper issues within the team. He talked about mistakes that can't keep happening. He mentioned the need for players to execute their responsibilities. And while those statements might sound standard, the context and tone made them feel different. Fans and analysts began dissecting every word, trying to figure out exactly who he was referring to. Was it the offense? The defense? Specific players? Or was it a broader message to the entire locker room? This is where things get complicated. In the NL, accountability is necessary. But there's a fine line between holding players responsible and creating tension within the team. And right now, many are wondering whether Sirianni's emotional response might have unintentionally added pressure to an already struggling situation. Let's be real, expectations for the Eagles are sky high. This isn't a rebuilding team. This is a roster built to compete at the highest level. Every loss feels bigger. Every mistake gets magnified, and every reaction is analyzed. And that pressure doesn't just fall on players. It falls heavily on the head coach. Sirianni has been praised for his leadership and energy in the past, but moments like this test how a coach handles adversity. Because it's one thing to lead when things are going well. It's another to lead when everything starts going wrong. Right now, Sirianni is facing that exact challenge. If you've been on social media, you already know fans are split right down the middle. Some are backing Sirianni completely, saying this is exactly what the team needs. They believe his passion shows he's invested and unwilling to accept poor performances. Others, however, are worried. They're asking whether this kind of emotional reaction could affect team morale. Could players feel singled out? Could this create division in the locker room? And then, there's a third group, fans who see this as a symptom of a bigger issue. They're not just focused on the reaction, but on what led to it. Inconsistent play, missed opportunities, and a team that doesn't look as dominant as expected. No matter which side you're on, one thing is clear: people are paying attention. This moment could go one of two ways for the Eagles. It could become a turning point, a wake-up call that brings the team together, sharpens focus, and leads to better performances. We've seen teams respond positively to emotional moments like this before. Because in the NFL, it's not just about what happens on the field. It's about how teams handle moments like this off the field as well. It's important to remember that one moment doesn't define a season. Emotions run high in professional sports, especially after tough losses. Coaches are human, players are human, and reactions like this, while rare, aren't completely unheard of. But what makes this situation unique is the spotlight. The Eagles are one of the most talked about teams in the league, and everything they do gets amplified. That means moments like this don't just stay internal, they become national conversations. And right now, that conversation is centered on leadership, accountability, and the pressure of expectations. At the end of the day, Nick Sirianni's reaction tells us one thing for sure: this team cares. They're not satisfied with losing. They're not okay with mistakes. And they're feeling the weight of expectations just like the fans are. The real question isn't whether Sirianni lost his cool. It's what happens next. Does this moment bring the team closer together, or does it highlight deeper issues that need to be addressed? Because in a season where every game matters, how the Eagles respond could define everything. What do you think about this situation? Was Nick Sirianni right to show that level of emotion, or did he go too far? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. This is one of those debates where every opinion matters. If you enjoyed this breakdown and want more real NFL stories, insider analysis, and updates you won't find anywhere else, make sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel. And don't forget to turn on notifications so you never miss a moment. Because in the NFL, things change fast, and this story is far from over.